On June 1st last year, the Restore the Vote Act went into effect in Minnesota, a law that says convicted felons can vote if they're no longer in jail and are serving probation or off the books from their time altogether. That law was challenged by the Minnesota Voters Alliance, who argued it violated the state constitution, but our state Supreme Court said that group didn't have standing to file that suit, and the law remains, and does so tonight, restoring the right to vote for folks who did their time. With just a week left before Election Day, state officials are making sure that this new group of voters know they can register and vote in the first presidential race since that law passed. John Croman is on the show tonight. I'll have him take it from here.
Hey, Jana, you know, the people who are leaving prison now are being told about this new law, but there's a push to educate those who've been out of prison for a long time and may still be in the dark about their opportunity to take part in the elections. All Square, a Minneapolis cafe that helps people re-enter society beyond the prison walls, and it's where Brian Fullman of the Interfaith Alliance and Secretary of State Steve Simon set out to remind us the vote has been restored to Minnesotans on probation.
Since last year, we have this bright line rule. There was some murkiness, some confusion before this law was implemented. Now it's real clear. If you're in prison for a felony, no, you can't vote. But the minute you step out in Minnesota and many, many states, now you can vote.
So a lot of my work that I've been doing around the House meetings, from barbershop to barbershop, from business to business, from church to church, has been about lifting up the news to whoever will listen.
Fullman is a barber who went to prison at the age of 19. He had his voting rights restored in 1994, but didn't realize he could vote until 2008.
I was told in my neighborhood that I couldn't vote, but I was told by somebody else who was a felon like me, unfortunately. So misinformation travels. It's like cancer. It just continues to travel and it decays.
Fullman was part of the celebration at the state capitol in February of 2023 when Restore the Vote passed the Senate. It came after 2 decades of failed attempts because Republicans opposed the idea of felons voting while still on probation.
But we need to make sure, not lessen the consequences of these violent criminals. We need to care about the victim, and there needs to be consequences.
Governor Walz signed the bill a week later, making Minnesota the 22nd state to allow former felony offenders to vote regardless of their probation status.
And the national trend is all and completely in this direction. I know of no other state looking to be more punitive or go in the other direction. So Minnesota is really riding the wave of a national trend.
When I understood that I was a first-class citizen and not somebody that needs to be patted on the head and say, wait your turn, your voice is not valuable yet. So I just really appreciate what the state of Minnesota has done.
That we have fought hard to get to this right, and we fully expect you to do your part.
Verna Price at the Capri Theater in North Minneapolis Monday night at a voter registration rally, one of many ongoing efforts to spread the word about restored rights.
So I just want you to make a commitment tonight, because guess what? Everyone in here over 18, you can vote.
That's right.
There's no more excuses.
Steve Simon has visited every prison in the state, speaking to inmates who are nearing release. He says the Corrections Department is doing a good job of getting the word out.
And then they've connected not just us, but nonprofits, faith groups, and others with the county correction system. They're typically the ones who run the probation system.
So yes, this is about our brothers and sisters who are now re-entering society right away, but it's also about our brothers and sisters who've been walking around with the wrong messaging, misinformation about how they can use their voices publicly. So I'm very passionate about this work.
Now, removing the voting ban for felony offenders eliminated the most common form of election law violations in Minnesota. We know that double voting, non-citizen voting, ID fraud are extremely rare here. But in 2008, dozens of people were prosecuted for voting or just registering to vote before they were off probation. Jana?
That's interesting, John. And how many people are we talking about? How many people is this in Minnesota?
Well, the pool of people that are currently on probation that can now vote is about 55,000 in Minnesota. And really, there's no way to track how many of those have registered or how many are going to sign up, because they're not doing that tracking anymore to make sure you can't vote if you're on probation.
All right, John Croman, thank you so much.